Good evening, everyone. Call this meeting to order at 7:13 p.m. If you wouldn't mind standing and saying the Pledge of Allegiance with me. I pledge allegiance
to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk is charged with asking the citizens of Wheatland Township to elect a moderator who will be responsible for overseeing the rest of the meeting. I ask now for nominations for the moderator.
I'd like to nominate Chuck Mayer for a moderator.
Second.
Okay. Any other nominations? And
Todd Morris.
Todd Morris. And I'm sorry, can I have your name?
Sorry? Maybe that's Lou, Louhalkias.
Thank you. All right, hearing there's no other nominations, can I get a motion to close?
Motion closed.
Can I have your name?
David Furnish.
And second? Sorry, who's that? Mark Lundeen?
Yeah, Lund.
Thank you. All right, I will call for a vote to close the nominations. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. I will call for a vote by a show of hands. All those in favor to elect Chuck Mayer? All right. Motion carries. All right, now we got to swear in the moderator. Where's Chuck at?
Right here.
Right there. Stuff. Raise your hand if you'd like. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of moderator
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of moderator. Probably
At this-
just a word in the middle there, but it'll be
at this town meeting to the best of my ability.
at this town meeting to the best of my ability.
All right, thank you. Can you get signature here? If you'd like
Would you
to
like
take,
to take a seat here, Chuck, or did you want to stay? It's up to you.
No, I'll sit up.
outline if you want to use it, can, if not.
Okay. Let me get a little orientated here for a second, folks, and we'll be right with you. Okay, so the first thing on the agenda after the oath of office is the discussion on the supervisor's annual financial report. I hope everybody's had a chance to look at the report and take a look at it. If you don't, take a couple minutes here and we'll take questions.
Motion on it, little public comment to the beginning, not the end after the votes have been passed. Make a motion to do that, please. Just.
So there'll be discussions at every topic versus a general public discussion. No, I think it allows people to be able to be talk on topic versus to talk on a topic and still have to go through everything. I'll rush through this thing as quickly as possible. I don't think there's going to take a lot of time with it. That would be my decision. Okay.
If I may just give a quick overcap of the.
Yes, please do.
So good evening, everyone. For those of you who have not had the pleasure of meeting, my name is Michael Crowner. I am the township supervisor. So I would say probably the best summary for you all to understand the just general financial condition of the overall township would be the final page of the packet. It's the consolidated funds information. So I'll just read off these numbers really quickly for those who do not have a copy. I apologize a little bit. As you can see with the amount of chairs, we have a few more in attendance than we were anticipating.
What a few of us wish not get that final page.
Yeah. The consolidated funds is not on your final page?
It may not be the final page, but it should be in the packet.
It might have been when the second batch of copies were being made. It could have been.
Yeah, the cemetery is the final page.
Okay.
Consolidated is right, if it's following the rest of these, consolidated is the next page from the back.
Okay, so
Yeah,
for
the
some of you,
cemetery in the back and consolidated is up there if it follows this.
That's only gonna get done if we didn't get a page at all.
okay, so I'm gonna read off the consolidated financial
Yeah,
figures. for
there's some
you all.
extra ones. Raise your hand if you don't have one, and if we could go and try to get it between people and share. Thank you, guys.
So at the beginning of the fiscal year, the township had $2,675,539. We collected total taxes of $3,581,738. We expended $3,187,466. And we ended, cash on hand at the end of the fiscal year is $3,069,811.
Any questions?
Yeah, I have.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so we started out the year with a surplus of nearly $2.7 million, correct? 2.675.
Correct.
And then we collected and we ended the year with a surplus of $3 million
And some change.
69,800.
Yes.
And then the amount of taxes collected that went into this well, actually collected was $603.1 million. 3099959. Right?
We have different taxes. You got property taxes
That's the amount of tax levied.
from the preceding year. Yeah,
Does
yeah.
that mean that went into this budget? I assume that.
Is that correct?
I'm sorry, state that question again.
Okay, so this budget.
Yes,
Levy.
the levy.
$2.675 million already available.
Yeah, that's what we started the year with cash on hand in the bank.
Right, cash on hand, okay, and then. But then we collected, $3,099,000, so just. Basically, $3.1 million we collected from taxpayers
Mhm.
that went into this budget.
So, sorry, you're asking what the gap as far as how that number increased as much as it did. So that number that you're referring to, the 3099959,
Yeah,
that is just on property taxes. So we get additional funds from other sources, including returns on our investments, grant funding, local, regional, and state funding. What's the other tax that's based on the old 1970?
Your road tech?
The tax, personal property replacement tax. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. And we also get,
and on this page,
yes,
just for the sake of real quick,
sure,
all right? Item number 4 is funds on hand at the end of the year,
sure.
which is $3,069,000.
Okay,
The amount that of taxpayer money that went into it was $30,000 more. In other words, 3.099 million dollars.
okay,
So we actually had $30,000 more come in from taxpayers. And then we really, and to, we actually had more money coming in from taxpayers than we even needed for the budget at all.
okay.
According
So,
to this,
no, I understand what you're saying.
if that money it was like, if we never taxed anybody last year
Yes,
for the parcels of land, property,
sure.
we would have still had enough money for this budget.
But so the issue, so I get what you're saying. a few things you gotta keep in mind. So, the township historically for different programs has not, I'll give you our roads programs, for example. Sometimes there's gonna be very expensive road programs that we can't necessarily pay out of 1 year of levy because they can run up significant amount of money and it would blow out our budget. So one of the things that we've historically done here is save up money for projects down the line as well, right? So that we don't have to increase taxes at a super high rate, right? To cover those big expenses, road programs, for example. So that's one of the things it saves up. The other thing we also got to keep in mind is if we expend all of that down and we don't have money coming in, we're gonna go down to zero before we have additional levies coming in from the following fiscal year. So you need to have funds in the.
Well, that makes sense, I think.
Sure.
As long as that money that you just talked about.
Mhm.
Like, for example, this over $3 million surplus
Sure.
were to go into certain reserve, like for roads.
Yeah.
Disasters, things like that.
Mhm.
Is that what you're saying that money goes to?
Yeah, so it's a mix. So there's a mix of funds. Yeah, so I just wanted, because going through each page, for a lot of people, they wouldn't want to go through each individual page. So if you look at the preceding pages in the document, it'll show you what's available for roads and bridges, what's available, emergency preparedness and such.
Right there, yes.
Yes.
So
I'll finish.
this $3 million surplus here will go into those different funds then?
That is correct. So a portion of it for the town fund, a portion for roads and bridges, a portion for just general maintenance and operations for the road district as well.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Question?
Ways to cut taxes.
I'm sorry?
How do you look for ways to cut taxes and make money out of the budget?
Yeah, so I think one of the things that we gotta face the realities of is expenses go up every year, right? One of the things over the last few years that we've taken into account is we haven't always tried maxing out our increase. We've been pretty responsible about what those increases are gonna be on an annual basis. And not the most recent fiscal year, but the year prior, we actually froze the levy that year as well. So we can't always do that. But one of the ways that we try to kind of reduce the impact of those increased expenses is by looking for grant opportunities, right? So that it's not felt as hard on property owners when we have to increase our budget on an annual basis to cover expenses.
Who's paying for grants?
I'm sorry?
Who's paying for grants?
We as
Yeah.
residents are paying for grants, whether it be at the federal level or at the county level. But we as a township, we don't impact what the county is levying for already or what the federal government's collecting in our tax base or the state revenues.
You
for
just
example.
apply for a grant and hope that you get it. And once
That is
you
correct.
Get it, then they use the money for what they want to
Yeah,
use it for.
so over,
I have a different question.
yeah, well, if I could just make a final comment on that portion real quick.
Hurry up.
Yeah.
Try to keep this moving as the moderator.
So-
like, keep it moving.
And I can appreciate that. I try to move the meeting as fast as possible. Over the last 5 years, between moving our funds into investment accounts to produce even more interest, advocating at the state level for funds, advocating at the county level for funds, we've probably secured over, I think at this point, over $700,000 that are not funds reliant on our property taxes. So if you look at our levy, that's like getting 75% of our general town fund levy. It's about 75% of our annual funds, right? That we've been able to apply just for being out there and being vocal and asking for grants for money we already pay for, right? These are funds that we already pay for in our property taxes, whether it be to the county, or if we're paying from our income taxes that we're paying to the state. So we're doing our job and advocating as hard as we can to make sure that we're advocating for those dollars to come back into our community as opposed to being spread elsewhere.
The only thing, hold on a second. Excuse
You had a
me,
question,
would you
yes.
do me a favor and just, I'd like people to raise your hand so that I can see who was, because if we have multiple people with hands raised, I will then make sure that you come in order. I just want to be fair to everybody. Yes, no, you're good. No, my question was going to be, not about the total dollars here, but where do we see the details? Because we don't know how the money's being spent. We see totals here. We understand that there's a total amount of dollars and that the funds are coming in here.
Yeah.
You got a couple issues going on here. Grants are, short term. We don't know
Sure.
how long they're gonna be. So when you start developing budgets based on funding that comes in that is not a consistent budget,
Mhm.
then, and you start hitting a budget here and then all of a sudden the grant goes away and you try to raise taxes to fulfill the budget.
Mhm.
So how do we see the details?
Yeah, so all of these are gonna be driven from the monthly financial reports that we post every month for our regular board meetings. So you're able to see in there, across versus our actual budget, what we've spent for the total fiscal year in each line item. So two ways, you can see for the line item as far as categorically, but then you can also download a copy of all of the bills paid on a monthly basis. That shows you exactly where each line item that's corresponding to the budget is coming out of. So for example,
I don't remember seeing it on the website though.
they are, so if you look under each month, there's it's called the monthly board package.
Okay.
And those figures are involved in those monthly board packages.
Would it be appropriate to have a motion that in the future annual meetings, that instead of totals, that we actually have access to expenditures, at least by category, because this is our, our government body.
Yeah.
Right here. So if I could get a motion to that effect, I'd love to be able to do that. So move,
Motion your effect, because I think that's right. You should get an income statement put together for us.
so that we have a detailed line item of what our expenses are and revenue sources. So those can be reviewed and not having to play hunt and peck each month through that.
Sure.
That'd be awesome.
So can I just make one, or I'm sorry, you finish.
Okay, so I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Okay, so your name, dear?
What?
What's your name?
Lynette Olson.
Lynette Olson?
Yeah.
Who's
Oh,
keeping
that's it.
minutes? Anybody keeping minutes?
It's all being recorded, but
Okay, Lynette Olson, and the second by, Randy
Randy
Happ.
Happ, 2 A's, 1 P.
okay? Any discussion?
Yeah.
Yes,
You made a motion, what's the extra cost? I just wanna know, like, you made a motion, so what's the extra cost as opposed to having it online?
Yeah.
you mean printing out a document?
We're talking about money, I wanna know what the extra cost is, I think it's a fair question.
Yeah, for sure.
So here's what I'll say on that piece. With regards to the information that you're seeking, well, for the annual meeting, we actually, for the monthly board package that's posted online right now, that has the full end of the fiscal year, so you guys can see full amount that was spent according to each categorical item. And then if you want to see each subcategory, that would end up with a pretty thick packet. So I would probably ask that people put that in by request as opposed to us printing out 100 of
You
these.
put it online.
Yeah.
I mean,
so it is
putting it
online.
online would be I mean,
Yeah.
if we could get it so that it was online,
Not a
easy to find, so that it's like part of the annual packet.
For sure, not a problem at all. And actually, that was, to your point, one of the things that I brought up to our administrator, Bill, here, is next year, because it's hard to predict how many people are
Excuse me,
showing
I'll
up,
get you.
we'll get you next. That we'll make sure that we have a QR code with the full packet for the annual meeting digitally to make it a lot easier if physical
That's a
copies are not available.
Great idea. The lady behind and then you, oh, I'm sorry, Brenda actually has been patient. I'm gonna let her go and then you. Go ahead, Brenda.
I was just wondering what percentage is road funds of your grants and what percentage is town fund?
On the grant side,
You said like there was $700,000.
so over in recent years, yeah, so I mean, off the top of my head, the town received 190,000, not including PACE. 190,000 from Will County, not including the recent grants. This is just grants that we've already received our income from. The road district has received probably over, so now I'm actually counting it up, the number's even higher than 700. The road district has probably received in the neighborhood of 600 to 650,000 itself in grants in recent years. Now, the additional funds outside of that I was referring to earlier are like our investment returns. So we went into higher interest-bearing accounts. So that's provided us anywhere from, let's say an average of maybe 50,000 a year on the town side. And I don't recall the number off the top of my head for the road district. So significant, so more on the road district than the town side.
And I would expect that since the three things that a township is supposed to do, right, is general assistance,
Mhm.
roads and bridges,
Mhm.
and the assessor's office. So those are the three things only that a township is supposed to do.
That is the minimum of what a township is supposed to do.
That is what they're supposed to do by law. There
A
are
minimum, yes.
extra things that they can do,
Exactly.
correct? So, but by growing, the town fund through grants, I mean, really, you don't have to do extra services. That's a choice.
We are choosing to bring resources that we already paid for back into our community. Yes, that is a choice.
Back in the back. Thank you for waiting.
Thank you very much. This is the first kind of meeting like this I've ever been to, so I'm just a little bit confused with what we're talking about. I'm looking at my tax bill personally, okay? And so I personally paid last year $17,651 in taxes. And we're obviously all very worried about our tax bill. But I'm very confused because the township fund from me for the entire year from our house was $37.44 of that 17,000. Is that the money we're fighting about right now, that $37?
Yeah, so there's two tax items that you'll see. It's the road district and the general town fund. And those are the two funds that we ourselves levy. Everything else is outside of our.
Okay, I need to, point of order. That's a great question. Okay? And
Yes.
as the moderator, I want to answer the question. And that's not what we're fighting about. What we are doing is asking questions about the budget. So nobody's asking or talking about taxes at this juncture. Okay, we're just talking about the budget, where the information comes in, so we have a better idea of the expenses versus the income revenue streams. I don't think anybody's worried about the $37 at this point, but I tell you, we've been doing this a while, so go ahead over here.
A question. Who's actually deciding how much risk we are taking in our investments? I understand.
Yeah.
You did it a higher interest.
Yeah.
Investments. Is there a policy of this is the most risk?
Great question. I have no idea. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so that's actually guided by state statute, what townships are able to do with their reserve and investment accounts. So all of our accounts are in interest-bearing money market accounts that are FDIC insured. No loss of principal. We have access to those funds at any point. We can do transfers as we need. There's no fees on the transfers. So and then we're in a pool. There's some people may have heard of what's called the Illinois funds, which is by Treasurer Mike Frericks. So he offers that to municipalities. And then several banks in the region have accounts that match that. So if you ever want to look up what our daily interest rate, if you just look up Illinois funds daily interest rate, you'll be able to see what we're generating on a day-to-day basis. But there's no risk. It's a money market account. It's FDIC insured, no loss of principal. It's an interest-bearing account.
Back here.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Going back to the excess $3 million.
Yes.
Where is their line items for your doing of those funds? There's got to be categories that you're looking at.
Are you referring to like where each of those funds
Expenses
fit?
are,
Just so you want an excess every year.
right, because it's too late to get it now.
Right.
It's too late to go in and see the full picture today. That's why I asked for it to be done for next year. And I think if I could clarify, he'd said that you could find it online per month.
So that includes line items.
Yes.
Where
Yes.
we spend money on town road.
Is that a future budget
The $3 million.
So,
excess.
yeah.
or
so
is that an expense?
So I think I get what you're saying. So there's two things that we gotta talk about. There's reserves and then there's budget, right? So the budget is posted online. The budget, if you want to stay for the meeting that follows immediately thereafter, we're gonna be talking about the new fiscal year budget as well, where we break it down by category where we're intending to spend our funds. So that's one side of it. The other side of it is with regards to where those funds currently are. The consolidated funds is a summation of all of the pages prior. So you can see how much is available for the town fund specifically, how much is available for the road district specifically. Reserve funds are not broken down in a budget. They are included as a part of your total funds for each fiscal year. So the way we look at the budget, and you'll see it in the next meeting, it says at the beginning, how much do you have in reserve to begin? How much will you be collecting? And how much is available for spending, essentially. And so in that budget, we're working off of how much is available to be spent. So you get to see between our taxes and reserves, how we're intending to spend all of that money.
Do we need to accept the financial report?
It's
Do we
just a
need motion
discussion.
or
I
is it a
submit,
discussion?
it's just a discussion. I just signed a document at the end confirming that I submitted this report.
Okay, if there's no other questions, I'd like to keep moving this forward.
So just to clarify,
So your reserve budget is wide open. It doesn't say it's this much to replace equipment is in reserve. It's this much for the roof, which we know is going to be going in 2 years.
So the reserve is not, the reserve is not its own budget. It is grouped in with the monies that are collected through the year. And then you see how it's gonna be spent
By category.
by category, yes. So you'll be able to see, I know we wanna move on, just one quick example. So for example, on the road district side, it will say, we have $2 million in the bank. We will be collecting $2 million. We have $4 million available to spend. Of that 4 million, this is how we intend to spend it over the next 12 months. And then you have your final line item at the end that says how much we expect to remain in reserves after after the end of the fiscal year.
Okay,
Does that clarify?
we have reports from the township elected officials, and I'm gonna ask that,
You might have missed a question over there. I'm sorry, Jeff. I saw.
I'm sorry, I did.
Saw a hand up.
A quick question, it says on the reserves, I understand they're on money market accounts.
Yes.
Considering the market performs considerably better than, the safer fund, is there a provision to allow some of it to be exposed to the market to deliver higher returns?
Yeah, so I don't believe that the state statute allows us the state statute has different rules for different municipalities and different bodies of government. We as a body, we have to, preservation of capital, I believe is number one. And then after that, we can talk about interest bearing. We can't go to like an ETF, for example, with our funds.
Almost like an insurance policy.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Township elected officials, who wants to go first?
I'll start. Good evening. I'm happy to see all you here. My name is Jim Kopchak. I am the newly elected tax collector / cemetery manager. And yes, death and taxes are combined in the same engine, so it's a.
1 foot in the grave and 1 foot.
Yeah, I tell you, only in Illinois can we have a political position with that name. As you may be aware, even though elections were about a year ago, Assessor Bruce Dorada and myself really only took office on January 1 of this year. So I'm kind of a neophyte to the position. However, we're proud of the township cemetery that we own and have here. As a matter of fact, I think, I'm not positive, Chuck, but I think you were here when the township actually took ownership of this in 2001. We owned the cemetery and took it over as part of the association that we had been managing it. The cemetery itself is 190 years old this year, coming up on in 10 years will be the 200-year-old historical cemetery. We have currently about 900 internments at the cemetery, with about 1,700 positions that have been identified and available, with another 500 of the lots that have already been sold. So we're a healthy cemetery. It is self dealing in terms of our funding. We don't require any budget from the township itself. And so we've been kind of active. We had 13 burials last year. We've already have 6 burials this year, with another 8 plots that we've sold. So we're on a path here to another very busy year. So I hope I don't have to see any of you in the near term. But in any event, we're looking forward to improving things. We have a couple projects that we are looking forward to help improve the lot and cemetery. One is the roads themselves. If anyone's been over there recently, the roads are not in good condition. I mean, we're working with the local highway department here in Kevin and trying to get some monies here. We have enough money available for us to fix those roads and extend some of that, so make the appearance of the cemetery look much better. Another item that we're looking to deal with is some automation for our record keeping. I was surprised to learn that we're still kind of paper based, and for 190 years of record keeping, you can imagine the kind of position that puts us in. So we think it's going to be in our best interest to move ahead with forms of automation, and our cemetery board is looking into that. And in that respect, we've also elected or appointed a new cemetery board, which had not been done for the past 3 or so years. Ben Peterson, who some of you may know, and actually had the cemetery manager role, a few years back, is on the board and we elected him as the clerk for the cemetery board. Laura Hoffman, whose husband had been on the cemetery board, and she herself has also been doing a lot of great work for helping us over there. Matter of fact, they helped in the transition, and I am thankful to both of them for the work they have done. Rich Graham, who some of you may also know, we call him the trustee emeritus because of all his long knowledge in the operations at the cemetery. So we're grateful for his work as well.
I appreciate it. We got you at 3 minutes.
That's it.
Okay, so I'm going to ask everybody to keep that under 3 minutes, please. Okay, so
I'll go
thank
next.
you very much. Let me reset the clock and you're off.
I'll read off the report to keep concise. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. My name is Matt Bobiak. I'm a licensed professional clinical counselor, as well as a certified advanced alcohol and other drug counselor. Also, as far as academia, I'm an associate professor, training director with Hazelden Betty Ford Graduate School. So big focus of mine has been working on some youth mental health and prevention initiatives here in the community. So sharing the updates specific to what we've done to this point. So regional and county community health assessments consistently identify youth mental health and substance use as top priorities. Across the Will and DuPage counties, families continue to face rising anxiety, depression, and stress among youth, difficulty accessing timely mental health care, ongoing concerns related to substance use, vaping, and opioid exposure. And you can find the data with specific numbers in the 2024 and 2025 DuPage and Will County reports. So local service data confirms that these concerns are showing up in real demand, particularly for children and adolescents, and that prevention and early intervention remain essential. So the township has taken a collaborative gap-filling role focused on prevention, coordination, and early support. So far, a township leadership is working directly with schools, including JFK, Indian Trail Middle School, Plainfield Academy, and Plainfield East High School. Focus groups of school partners continue to be conducted to ensure this work reflects real on-the-ground needs, and efforts are aligned with the Plainfield District's 202's Family Needs Assessment to avoid duplication and strengthen impact. We got some grants, so as part of kind of some of the money we've probably been talking about here. So Wheatland Township successfully secured over this past year $187,000 in competitive 708 board funding over these 2 years. So in 2025, last summer, we received $32,000 to initiate youth prevention and mental health efforts. And more recently, we received another $155,000 grant to expand and sustain those services. Youth prevention and mental health services are already being assessed within the Plainfield District 202. Township intends to use grant funds to support prevention, education, and early intervention. This initiative is operational, not speculative. So to continue to guide this work responsibly, Wheatland Township is establishing a mental health advisory committee. We did have an interest meeting held on March 18th last month. And the focus of this is designated to include schools, community partners, and other key stakeholders, focused on coordination, transparency, and evaluation to also help the township responsibly expand services as needs are identified. So in sum, Wheatland Township's role is intentionally collaborative, partnering with schools, healthcare providers, and nonprofits, strengthening referral pathways, supporting prevention and early intervention.
20 seconds.
Filling gaps where demand already exists, and enhancing coordination rather than duplicating services. There you go. I'm used to giving 3-hour lectures.
Whoa, you got it. 2:48. Nice job. Nice job.
Okay. You okay?
Everybody okay?
Yeah, the phone.
Okay.
Thought it was the kid jumping after the phone. Next, yes.
So are we allowed to ask questions on this, or do we have to wait for something?
I'm okay if there's questions that want to be asked during this time frame.
So here's where I get confused, right?
Just speak louder.
Right, so here's where I get confused, because you have stated certain information, which I think can be misleading. Right, and you know what I'm talking about, because the grants, yes, $155,000 from the Will County Mental Health Board, 708 board, has been awarded to you. However, it's a repayment grant. You don't have the money until you do the work. And then you have to fill out paperwork to get the money, correct?
I can speak to that really quick. Well, I'm as the treasurer of the funds, I'm responsible for the math and the expenditures, so.
You should know how the grant works. I mean, that's how it works, right? You do
Who wrote the grant?
information.
I worked on writing the grant, yeah. But I have So we're alongside Matt, but as far as from an operational standpoint, when it comes to expenditures and reimbursements, that falls under my purview. So that's why, if you allow me, I'm happy to answer that.
At least you
But,
finished the question.
finish the question, because I'm not even sure I got the final question here yet.
Okay, so we don't have the money, right? And it's a 708 mental health board that you got the money from. By law, which your legal counsel is here, so maybe we can answer this. Do you not have to be a 708 mental health board to use those grant funds? Because if you're, the way that I understand it, if it's issued by a 708 mental health board, you yourself have to be a mental health board to be able to expend that. You have to have your own line item budget where all of that money goes into, or else you can't even receive this money. Because it has to be accounted for every single penny just for mental health. So in order to get the mental health board, you have to have a referendum on the ballot. So this money doesn't even, it's not even gonna come to the township until you've met that requirement, if I understand that correctly.
No.
That's my question.
Okay. See, I'm gonna leave it up to you guys. Who's got
Are
the
you okay
answer
if
to
I
that?
answer that?
Yeah, I mean, you're about
Yeah.
financial though.
So with regards to taxes, any mental health initiatives we have going, the grants that we're referring to, that's not a new tax levy by the township. That's already paid for you by you to the county. The county collects it for the community and they decide in a competitive application process who's going to receive allocations from the pocket of money that they get from the whole county. We are eligible to receive it as a municipality. Other municipalities and public bodies have received those funds in the year. They were legally able to expend it. You do not have to have your own 708 mental health board in order to expend those funds. Those funds will be reflected on the fiscal year budget for the 2027 fiscal year. The expenditures for that. In addition, we have to send a detailed budget to the county explaining exactly how we're going to expend those funds. We've already done so. Yes, it is a reimbursement grant. What we do is we show them what we spent. We file a report with those expenditures. We give them receipts. We give them pay stubs, whatever it may be that we're asking for a reimbursement. They go in the system, they approve it. In my previous experience, they generally give you the funds within about 4 weeks of when you submit the request. And I'll just one last piece. And then this is one of the reasons that it is important for us to be able to have reserve funds, right? So that we can expend on these programs, but then we refill the reserve essentially with those monies as they come back from the county.
So I have a question here. What programs are you developing? I know you gave a pretty good overview of all the different groups you're working with, but specifically, what are you expending these dollars on in the way? Are you hiring counselors to come work with a group of kids at the school? Where are your referrals coming from? Where are people seeing these folks? You know, because it's something like this, you can't go in and put it in toward a building. You know, you have to be using it for services that are working directly with clients and or educational programming. Correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, would it be appropriate, Miguel, Cambray, is it appropriate for Miguel to speak to the program as he's been on the ground working with the schools?
If the moderator will allow.
If we allow.
Who am I looking at?
Miguel Cambray.
Miguel, would you like to address the crowd?
Sure, wasn't expecting this, but that is, for those of you who don't know me, I am Miguel Angel Cambray.
Miguel, could you come up to the front so we
I
can?
have over 25 years experience in fundraising and grant making. I was formerly a vice president of JP Morgan Chase Financial. I've worked with the government in creating policy around youth development, mental health and behavioral health, and I've been doing this as a practitioner for over 26 years in the sort of nationally. We have been working as an organization to use what Matt is describing as using your community assessment, your CDC assessment. And if you didn't know, in Will County alone, we've had over 144 opioid deaths in 1 year. Over 100 of those are fentanyl driven. Your youth have increasingly been showing depression, and 1 in 5 young people have expressed suicidal thoughts in your district. And in addition to that, your former Will County, I'm going to answer the question about the
I
program.
want you to clarify something, because when you talk about Will County's had all that, what does Wheatland have?
So it's broken down by school systems. and school districts. So they're not residential because of HIPAA. You can never get to the specific people because of identifiers or geography. So some townships have like 100 people. And if it was 30% in that township, you know how to look for the 60 people. So it goes to the school district.
So we don't know what's Plainfield.
You do know because
What's Valley
it's the federal government provides that for you, and you can break it down by schools and you can break it down by the
What's
school
District
districts.
202 school district then?
I don't know them off the top of my head, but
That's what we need, that's what we want.
They're-
What year is that data from?
so some 2023, some 2022, but the surveys
You're
themselves. Can I answer the first question though? Okay, so obviously this is of interest, which I'm excited because we're looking for all the support we can get. So it's 2023 data. The survey, it takes 3 years to produce and generate and process the information. So they're always going to be educational data in general is always 3 years behind. That's not something that the township.
Okay, so I'm gonna cut you off because I don't want to get too.
Well, you at,
No, hold on a second and let me ask my question. Okay, so because the question was, what services are we paying for? So are we paying for, because what I think I'm hearing you say is that you are gonna do some research. And you're paying for using some of these dollars to do current research on what's going on with the kids in the schools and our youth.
yeah, well, one out of three, if you don't wave your hand at me, but yes, I will answer your question.
I gotta get your attention.
No, understood, just don't wave it at me. But the budget was submitted to the county board of health. So there's already a budget that the county board must approve to allocate the funds. So yes, some of those funds will be used for stipends to support the student researchers that we will be developing. Yes, there will be monies allocated for training young people around behavioral and mental health. And yes, there will be resources allocated for
So
referrals to
I need you
clinicians.
to expand for me then, please. The training of youth.
But you asked
for
me to
mental
hurry
health.
up. So is there like a motion to maybe I could do a
Okay,
formal
so-
presentation?
Well, we might be able to do that
Okay.
at some point. I
I
don't
should,
know.
actually, I welcome
But
that.
I think some of this information that's gonna be going on here in the future is gonna be dependent a little bit
Sure.
on what.
Sure,
we're paying.
and $155,000 doesn't cover the 400,000 that we've already tried, we're in process of fundraising. These are just the portions that we've received.
So my question with the training of the kids, because I've been in education for
It's
a
perfect.
very long time.
Welcome you to join the
I've
committee.
been LCPC,
That's
helped write the law for that,
that's
so I get it,
impressive.
okay? So my question with the kids is, what are you training the kids to be able to do?
So cognitive behavior intervention, bystander intervention, motivational interviewing, CPR certification, and stop the bleeding training and Narcan.
And the reason you're doing this is to,
create a social norm that's allowing young people to decrease their behavior in risky behavior that lead to substance use and or deficits in mental health.
the chance of these kids having mental health issues,
This is a lot.
I know,
This is no longer the one question.
I know, but it's just getting, I'm
Is a lot.
very curious about all this, and I don't know if we can go in and have a special meeting on the mental health aspect of this.
The moderator continue to steal the meeting. We have all the questions, not just the moderator.
Understood.
You're supposed to be moderating, not leading discussion. You are the
No,
moderator.
no, as the moderator, leading discussion is part of it. I just want to get this, I want to get this down
May I
and
sit down?
stop it down. Yeah, please.
Okay.
Okay. Can we go in and do a special meeting on this where we can get a much better
Yeah.
thing on this?
Can I get some point then, to your point, of what you're asking, is we're finalizing right now, the program model. We've been working, we had a proposal, and then we're working on finalizing the program model with community partners, with school district and so forth, right? So we're having those discussions. Once that program model is finalized, right, we have the budgets already, we can post it online, it's not an issue. But the formal program model, once that is, fully complete, then we can have a special meeting with a presentation. And happy to have Matt discuss his credentials and why he's one of the leaders on the initiative. Miguel can speak again to how this model has worked in other communities as well. And then we can talk through any final questions with regards to finances on that specific program.
Young man in the back.
Yeah, I make a motion to end discussion so we can hear from the other board members.
Second?
This particular piece.
Actually, if you want to end the discussion, will we be able to do some more discussion
It's
before the end of
later.
the meeting?
There's a. Yeah.
I think that's what we were talking about doing, is actually having,
Gotta get a second.
yeah, I know, that's why I'm talking to this other, because I haven't had a second.
I'll second the motion.
We have a second.
With this software.
Okay, a second.
Available to community residents who want to chat as well.
One question I have is, how much money has already been spent on this? And have all the township taxpayers been notified of this before the money was spent?
So the only expenditures that have been taken on so far that are supporting the mental health initiative are for salaries. Salaries are already budgeted for on an annual basis. So we did not exceed our budget line item from the beginning of the fiscal year for salaries. And we will begin the process of seeking reimbursements for portions of salaries for time expended on this program specifically in the next we'll say about 4 to 6 weeks. If that helps clarify that.
Okay, I had a motion and a second. Any further discussion? You have to allow discussion.
Motion to move to support discussion.
It'd be great to know what you were expecting to pay of these salaries on an annual basis, salaries and benefits.
Those are on our annual budget.
You know that off the top of your head. I
The
think.
salaries you're talking about are the additional ones related to the mental health, are you not? I thought that's what you were talking about.
So we have space in our budget allocated previously for staffing. And we have room in our budget already. We haven't hired on like a clinician or anything to that point. We just have right now administrative and support staff at the township that was already previously accounted for in our budget. But your quick question at the town, I don't know the numbers for all of the different funds off the top of my head at the moment. We'll be discussing it in the next meeting, but I believe the overall township is 420,000 in total salaries for all staff and elected officials.
So those staffing that you said you already previously accounted for, put in, that's only for this new program?
No,
Well,
no, that's for our overall general operations as a township.
He didn't break it down by line item for staff.
No, but. I'm sorry, what did you hire? I'm sorry, I can't think his name is, well, if he does, what did you? hire-
Miguel?
Yes, what did you hire him as?
He's supporting, I'm sorry,
In October, right? He was a new hire.
correct?
Okay.
Supporting new growth initiatives, including behavioral health services. But we already accounted for,
thank you very much for clarifying the answer he did. Yeah, I appreciate that.
I got a question. Are we looking to implement the same stuff that he did at Joliet Township?
no, they're different programming.
Can we take a vote on this motion?
Yeah, all those in favor of moving on, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, any signs? Thank you for your motion. Okay,
Does anybody else want to give a report before let's move on to a quick report?
I'll give my report. My name is Margaret Tyson. I'm a trustee with Wheatland Township. I'm the chair of the senior committee. We meet twice a month.
Good.
We meet the first Wednesday of the month as a committee to discuss what we're going to do. And we meet the third Wednesday of the month and we have a luncheon. We're lucky enough to have free space to use at Hallelujah Lutheran Church. From noon until maybe 2:30, and we have a luncheon every month. And the co-pay for residents or non-residents is $5. And we order sandwiches, chips and cookies and something to drink. And we have a speaker every month. If we don't have a speaker, we play bingo or we play a game. It's a fun time. I'm looking to grow the group. Currently, we have an average about 40 people a month. I'm looking to grow the group because I like to travel. So we're looking at doing other things. That concludes my report.
okay, we have a new record, 52 seconds. Question?
Good seeing you again. I did go to one luncheon, had a great time. And talked to you a lot, but we never got invited again. So I don't know if they were bad or what happened.
See all that gray hair? He's an old guy.
We sat next to Harry, got to meet him and it was
I
excellent.
sent an email to Carolyn at the township. It's on the webpage.
Yeah.
Okay.
She'll add
Send
it
an
to the
email
distribution.
And say you would like to be invited again. You want to be put back on.
And they gotta do a background check.
Yeah.
Maybe they took a vote after you left.
Thank you for the testimony.
I'll go next.
Okay,
I'll
go.
be really fast. My name is Meta Mueller. I'm the newest trustee on the council. For all of those folks who were asking about the website, I heard some folks say, what's the address? It's wheatlandtownship.com. So if you go in there in the little drop-down menu, you'll be able to find all these PDFs and stuff that Supervisor Crowner has been telling us is posted there. So I'm new. I have a lot of experience on state side and county side, so if I can ever be of any help to anyone, always feel free to reach out. I'm here. Thanks.
New record of 33 seconds.
Yeah,
Nice job.
You know,
Not enough to do.
not much support.
I have a lot of metrics. I won't get it done for you. I'll try.
He could have my time.
Yeah, yeah. Great job. So I'm Bruce Dorado, the Township Assessor. I'm just gonna kind of lead off the sheet that my staff put together. So the Assessor's Office is maintaining a high level of productivity and service in 2025. There's been a lot of community growth and development. Several new businesses opening, including Patillo's, Chick-fil-A, Aces Dispensary, the Islamic Center, and Neighborhood. In addition, major projects currently under construction include the Lifetime Fitness and Hidden's Food Market, expected to further enhance the economy and expand amenities available to residents.
Yes.
In terms of assessment activity, we did a total of 2,076 assessment changes in 2025, including 539 new construction assessments, 440 home improvement assessments and extensions, 227 parcels removed from developers relief, 776 new vacant land assessments, and 94 new adjustments. As far as exemptions and corrections go, we did 492 exemptions that include seniors, disabled, etc. 199 certificates of error completed to retroactively apply. These efforts ensured accurate tax relief and enforce the office's commitments in fairness and compliance. For appeals activity, we did 247 informal appeals that were resolved at the office level. 278 formal appeals were filed and submitted. We did 8 board of review hearings and 10 PTAF, the property tax appeal board cases completed. Office also processed 1,606 property sales, 1,922 permits. We conducted a comprehensive review of 1,475 general homestead exemptions, resulting in the addition, removal, or transfer of exemptions based on verified primary residence eligibility, including 140 removals where the property did not qualify as the owner's primary residence. Key metrics include total parcels. We have 32,869 total parcels. We have 2,076 assessment changes, property sales recorded 1,606. Exemptions processed 492.
2 minutes and 16 seconds. Nice job. Question. I have one here and then that.
All right, for the homestead notes, when people live in their home, they get a homestead.
Right.
All right, who do you report if you know somebody that's living that owns a home, but does not live there?
Well, I kind of touched on that a little bit. Our staff, they have a way of checking to make sure that you're the
Who
primary.
can I report it to? Who do I call? You?
You can call our office, you can call me, or yeah, just call us and we'll.
Thank you, that's what I need to know.
Yeah.
I have here and then there.
I was under the impression once that we were behind in like a bunch of our commercial assessments. Because there wasn't anybody to do commercial assessments. Do we have somebody now that's doing commercial assessments, giving that revenue?
So we have a deputy assessor. He came from Troy Township. He specializes in commercial.
Okay.
I'm a commercial appraiser.
Okay,
I'm certified general license, so I'm
Okay.
going to be focusing on that.
okay, thank you.
Okay, just, what's the total parcels in the township?
32,869.
Thank you.
A lot of parcels. Okay.
Okay, I'll go. We have no question.
Just because you were speaking about homestead and homes, I just have a general question and forgive me if it sounds weird, but there are some homes that have been bought by investors that are renting them. And I want to know, is there, regardless, like some homes are not in, what do you call it, when you pay that monthly payments?
HOA.
Yeah, there are some subdivisions that don't have, right? So they don't have that roof. And I've noticed that in certain subdivisions that don't have that, you see a lot of investors buying. And I've noticed there's been a lot of people living in a single family home. Does the township have any rules on the amount of individuals in one house?
I think that's a city ordinance.
It's a city
That-
ordinance?
That's handled by the city, that doesn't really have to do with.
It's a town.
So if you're in an incorporated neighborhood, it would be your city boundaries. If it's unincorporated, then I believe that would be an issue to take before the county.
I think you're right. Did I see any other hands up? Okay, next.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jeff Klein. I'm one of the trustees here in Wheatland Township, elected a year ago. It's a pleasure to have everybody here this evening. And I'll make this simple for you. I have nothing to say.
Oh, Jeff, you got a new record, 7 seconds. Nice job.
I can't.
Re-elect that guy.
Terry, did you want to give a report before I move on? No. Okay, so really quickly again, Michael Crowner, your township supervisor. I just want to point out one quick thing and that Bruce brought up briefly. But I just want to give him credit because when Bruce was sworn in, there was a significant backlog on appraisals for new construction. And he's been hustling and he's been bringing people on and doing what he's got to do to make sure that those properties were assessed. The reason that's a big deal is if they were not properly assessed, if they were still assessed as land, we would not be getting the proper amount of property taxes from those residents, meaning more would have been put on the rest, right, of the community. The other big deal is that for the residents who live in those properties, they would have, I think you said double taxed essentially the following year, right? Nobody wants to get a double property tax bill. So I just want to say thank you to Bruce for getting the backlog taken care of and appreciate that. I'm sure we should all appreciate that. So really quickly on the supervisor side, obviously we've been talking about the behavioral health initiatives. That's one of the things that we've been focusing on. A few new services for you all to be aware of if you're not already. We are a passport acceptance agency, so you can come file to get a passport here at Wheatland Township. You can also have your photo done here at Wheatland Township, so a one-stop shop. My buddy Bill Green here is responsible for management of that program. I think he'll talk about it in the next meeting during his reports, but we've already accepted, I think, $4,000 in a very brief time where we've basically barely been advertising it. So I'm very excited for that, continuing to bring additional resources and just adding a great resource for the community to be able to utilize. Not as convenient, much more convenient than having to wait in line and going to the post office. You can get an appointment, have some privacy and get your photo taken here. So that's one. A couple other things, we do have temporary handicap placards available for those who require it. You can call the office for the application, or we also have the application online, fill it out, get your temporary handicap placard here. Free notary services, again, thank you, Bill, he takes care of that. And I know I'm missing one. Passport, I'm sorry? We have blue envelope available here in our lobby as well. For those of you who are not aware of the blue envelope program it's right now it's in the city of Naperville, but essentially it's for individuals with intellectual disabilities or on the spectrum. It's beneficial in two ways. One, it provides them with feedback and how to handle a traffic stop if they are pulled over or if they get into an accident, whatever it may be. But it also provides an opportunity for them to give a document to the responding officer so that they're aware, so that if there's maybe certain social behaviors or cues that they're not used to, they have an explanation and understanding of why somebody, if they're fidgety, for example, right? It gives them an opportunity to make sure that there's a level of communication. And also, I believe, has emergency contact on the envelope as well, should things escalate the way they do. And then the last thing that now I just remember. So you'll see QR codes a few places. This is an opportunity. Yeah, so one here at the table, one on the back wall. There's one here on the door as well. So we're gonna make sure we start getting a digital newsletter for more frequent updates for you all. We'll make sure to include things like board packages in those newsletters so that you don't have to go searching around on the website where it is. You can have it on a monthly basis already delivered into your inbox. provide you opportunities to understand things like how to sign up for the senior lunches, where the senior lunches, what the upcoming dates are, stuff like that. For those of you who have received a physical copy of our newsletter as well, brush pickup days and things like that. So that will allow alerts, and then we'll also, okay, almost done. The last piece on there, gonna try getting text alerts as well. So if things happen suddenly, I know that there was a meeting last month that was canceled. So that everybody can get that notification and awareness right away via that alert. And then my goal long term is if we get people to say what subdivision they're in, maybe we can work up with the road district to say things like, hey, we're doing brush pickup in your neighborhood today, right? Or we're doing certain specific activities in your neighborhood, just so that you're aware and you know what's happening and why there's trucks or things getting blocked off. So that concludes my report. Thank you.
Okay, we gave you extra time because you were giving Bruce. So we did. Okay, Highway Commissioner report?
Highway Commissioner Snack.
Yeah, and I
Okay.
don't believe he submitted a report.
All right.
I have something to say about that.
Okay,
Just speaking plainly, our highway commissioner is also, our highway commissioner is also our 97th district state representative, who has been censured, basically lost all of his caucus duties and everything else on the state side. Since that time, I've been to 3 meetings here now. And our highway commissioner, who's getting a lot of money from the township, is still collecting his paycheck. And I would just like to know, is he doing his job? Who's doing his job for him? And, you know, if it's an ethics thing or something that needs to be addressed, how are you addressing it like the state caucus addressed it? And so I'd just like to know those things, because you talked about a huge budget going to the highway department and he's kind of missing in action. So I'd just like to know what's going on with it.
Me too.
It's up to you.
I think
That make a
Be
motion, we
appropriate.
just remove him from office. That's where we're at. He's not here. Can I get a second?
It's not a legal motion that we can.
you know,
The guy's not here.
is there a lawyer here at the desk?
There's no way to remove an elected official under the township code, and there is no recall provision. The board has the ability to censure, the board has the ability to take, well, the board cannot take away his salary, because what the statute says is that once the salary is set for the term, you can't reduce the salary during the term, because then people would play shenanigans with people they wanted to play shenanigans with. So you're not allowed to do that until the next term after the next election. You know, I'm happy to sit down and talk with the board about other things that they might do, but I don't see any reason why. I mean, there's nothing on the agenda for you to have a motion like this. So if you know, the town wanted to censure him, you could do that publicly, but it wouldn't be a valid vote because it's not on the agenda. So
And it sounds like they should go to the board meeting, the next board meeting, and ask you guys to put it on your agenda for discussion, so that there could be some action taken by the board if it's so warranted. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
yeah,
So there's no impeachment process?
there is no impeachment process, and there is no recall process, and that has been an issue that's, I mean, we had to, when we had Blagojevich as the governor, they had to actually pass a law after that to allow for impeachment, and that was only passed with respect to the governor. It wasn't passed with respect to other governmental bodies. And then recently, some municipalities have passed recall referendums, but those are home rule municipalities that have, under the Constitution, the ability to do that. Townships are not home rule municipalities, so we do not have the ability to do that as a township.
So the only real recourse, and I got Todd over here, and then I got you guys, the only real recourse is to go to the state and ask them to do an amendment to the Blagojevich law. Pretty much.
So my suggestion is, let's not go through politicians to get rid of a politician. There's an election in November. He's our state rep. Pass the word. Good way to get him out of office. 2 years later, you'll come here and we'll do it again.
Can
That's
I
the way
just
we
make
sent.
one sentence comment?
Let me get these guys first and then I'll do that. Yes.
Just collecting a salary that we're paying for, when we have the sheriff's office consultant attendance of the meeting.
That's a great, that is a great question. Could we get that looked at, Mr. Attorney?
Is that possible?
I don't know, I've never. But I will find out.
Yeah.
Okay, there was somebody else over here, I think. But you guys were getting into discussion and then he said it. Okay, good enough. Go ahead.
The only final comment I'll add to that is the work is all still getting done. I checked in with the staff to make sure that work has been done. The highway department is operating. We're fortunate we have a foreman here who's been here for over 20 years. Kevin.
I understand that, but if you had it on the agenda to have a report and you knew he wasn't gonna be here to give one, somebody should have had a report for dollars or whatever.
You can't
tell
whether you don't know if he's gonna show up. Yes.
So to ask my candidacy for trustee, it sounds like a great deal.
That was the highway commissioner, by the way. that we were looking at. Okay, moving on, highway commissioner, we're looking at old business.
Second, I'm sorry.
Excuse me, we're gonna, a discussion and approval of the annual township minutes from last year. Minutes from last year, did people all have a chance to look at them? And I don't have them somewhere.
But I'll make a motion to approve them.
Well, second that.
Second, okay, Brenda seconded and
Or she made the motion.
made the motion. Go ahead, say your name again. Motion.
And then I guess I'm a elector, not supervisor in this moment. Glenn Crowner.
Okay, any questions or discussion? We got a motion to accept discussion. Okay, I read through this and I just have, I'm curious, there was a trustee last year, trustee Jones. They talked about the proposal to consider the state considering to eliminate or reduce township government. Have you guys got a status on that?
There's basically been no removal. I think
No movement?
some counties have the authority, but yeah, township officials of Illinois generally arguing against that. And so there's not any, I haven't seen any movement. You could speak.
They passed a law allowing municipalities that were coextensive with townships to eliminate their township. And I believe Evanston is the only one that has actually done that, but there hasn't been anything more.
They don't have a whole lot of unincorporated areas up in that area anyway.
Same.
Okay. Any other discussion on the minutes?
Yeah, vote on something.
Yep.
Yes, yeah, we are getting there. We're gonna vote on this. All those in favor of accepting the minutes from last year, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Okay, minutes have gone. We are moving into new business. All right, the first item on the agenda is delegate the authority of the township board to lease property for a period of 12 months. Okay. Any discussion on this? Well, I'm not looking, I mean, somebody can make a motion, but I think one of the things that I see on this is what's the purpose?
Yeah, so I'm happy to comment on that. So, as a township, as our residents have asked us to continue to find opportunities to serve our constituents and to continue to expand services. 12 years ago, we were already tapped for space. It's only continued to be the case now. So with the behavioral health initiative, we are hoping to be able to lease space for expanded services, including behavioral health. My goal is something short-term as we're evaluating these programs. Again, these are piloted programs. To start short-term, I'll just give you an example. One of the things that I was looking at, again, to make sure that our staff has comfortable working space is we have you guys may be familiar with the HQ building across the street. It's a co-working space. It's short-term leases. Gives me the opportunity to just have additional office space, desk and a chair, right? As of right now, we have every desk, chair, tabletop available in our township is already filled. We have few employees who don't actually have technically a desk, they work out of the conference room. So just being able to ensure that our employees can work comfortably on the initiatives that we're paying them to work on, and continue to allow us to, do these things responsibly. So not, sorry, I'll just finish really quickly. And I clarified this because people had questions. It is not, to build anything right now. It's not to purchase anything. This is for leases. And, these are not going to be an additional, tax line item. We actually already had budgeted previously for potential expansion with rent, on our budget. We just didn't use that line item yet. And we have enough funds, on hand. Again, we have more than, 1 year's worth of our expenditures on hand as reserves, so we can more than, comfortably absorb this with no impact, to kind of, no negative impact on our financial operations.
Motion.
Okay,
What is the
got
anticipated,
one, two,
what's the anticipated
three,
cost of this? And
Yeah.
and is it for any specific purpose? Is it for all the office staff, or is it gonna be one specific purpose, like to handle, the mental health or?
Yep. Yeah, so, I think the first question was cost.
Yep.
Right, so what we have budgeted to this point, and what I'm proposing in the next budget as well, is not to exceed 36,000 annually, which is 3,000 a month for potential leasing space. So that's what I have in the line item as rent expense. You'll see that on the proposed budget and last year's budget as well. And then for who's gonna be using it, again, it's for the expansion of the employees that we have that don't have space. Both employees right now fall under the office of the supervisor.
Okay,
and two.
so the way I'm understanding how it's written on your agenda is you're expecting us to vote on spending $3,000 a month without the budget in front of us to exactly what those expenditures are gonna be, in hopes that it takes off and works and somewhere down the line, it's self-sufficient. You're asking me to vote on something that I don't have enough information on to vote for tonight, is what I'm saying. So help me out here. Why didn't we have a budget for this thing that we're voting on spelled out more than this vague language that only one person is speaking to what we're gonna use it for? Just my question.
It's on the budget right now, so like
Yeah, you're
last
saying
year.
it's on the
and
budget,
it's
but I'm
on-
not looking at it.
Okay, so the budget document is a publicly available document that is on our website. It has and it's also, not only do you have the annual proposed budget, you also on a month-to-month basis, it shows you our budget and where our expenditures are based on each budget line item. So we have put in the request for, again, 36,000 annually. That's the cost. No more. It would not exceed 36,000.
But I'm not seeing that in writing, so I can't vote on it.
I think what he's saying, if I can paraphrase this, is because it's a line item here.
Yeah.
Or because it's on the budget, on the agenda here, that there should be more information or a little packet just about this, not about the whole budget, not about anything. It's
Exactly.
just about the rent, the things that are gonna be doing, maybe even where you're thinking about renting and all that kind of stuff. I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like, you're asking me to vote for you to spend my tax dollars, even though it is maybe only $37 or whatever it is, it's still $37 to the one person's point. You're asking me to authorize you to spend money, and I don't know what I'm authorizing. I'm hearing numbers, but I'm not seeing numbers. And it's really hard to vote on that.
Okay, the attorney had a comment actually.
Okay, let's get through the voters here and then we'll have the attorney be
It
able
was
to.
fine before they raised their hand.
No, I've been seeing Brenda up for 20 minutes here. Go ahead.
Okay. You and I have had this conversation before, right? Because you said that the residents have been asking you for more services. We've had this at the last meeting, board meeting, right? You said you did a door-to-door campaign and the residents were saying they wanted more services. But when I submitted my FOIA for information on your door-to-door campaign that you guys did, that you said at the meeting, it was returned to me that there was no door-to-door campaign asking the residents if they wanted more services.
Yes.
Correct? So you
Okay.
started out with that statement, that's not really a true statement. So you can't,
You're incorrect.
it's misleading.
It's
when
not.
You say stuff like that.
So if I may respond, I told you at the last meeting that the voters, when I went door to door in campaign season, the voters, right?
You never said campaigns.
I did. I spoke to residents. I said last year during campaign, and they've reelected me, right? And I said overwhelming. Okay, I'm telling you.
Okay, guys, we really don't want to get into, I hate to get into this as.
But I've given you an explanation.
Back and forth.
Why there's not a public document of reports, it's because it was during campaign season.
Okay, I got here, then I got people over there, and then you.
No one left their mind or talked to me.
33,000
You're
parcels.
saying 36,000 for rent.
Okay.
What about desks, build out space, cubicle walls?
Yeah, so the space that I was referring to, it's a co-working space, sure.
The other part is, so you need all of this for two people?
So,
That's what you're saying.
okay,
That's what you said, yes?
okay,
Just clarifying, that's what you need, all this
Sure.
space for two people.
okay. So desks, internet, utilities, chairs. That's why I was referring to the co-working space specifically. You don't have to pay for a build out, you don't have to pay for equipment and desks. Our staff already have their equipment from the township. So the expense when you're renting there is rent.
Where's that at?
It's across the street, it's HQ, and 103rd and Route 59.
But the
Okay.
last meeting, you talked about some place by a 7-Eleven or wherever it was. Yeah, wherever it was, that you were gonna rent out this space. That sounded like it had nothing in it, it was gonna need to build out. So you've changed where you're supposed to rent out now, is that it?
I don't recall mentioning anything about a 7-Eleven, I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm gonna move it on right now. Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right. That was Wheatland Township, 94.
Mhm.
And the communication, you're asking us to vote on something here this evening. You know, the communication about this and what we're voting for, the financials, et cetera, and I'm sure a hell of a lot of other things. Is really cool, honestly.
Yeah.
That, I'm gonna forward. I mean, you guys are there for this stuff. You're talking about a lot of health issues. I mean, it's all reactionary. Why don't you get to the genesis of the problem? You know, on stuff. The stuff starts as a whole. Yeah. You talk about that, starts as a whole. It's all reactionary stuff. But with all due respect, the communication for this is really lacking. I mean, it really is. It's unprofessional.
And I think that's where that previous motion was, to have more information about the budget. Maybe one of the things, if we could get a motion, if somebody would give me a motion that actually asks
I'll make a
for.
motion that, they take 12 months to do their due diligence, and we can readdress this here next year. And I need a second.
Second.
I already made a motion. Sorry, I made a motion. and-
But you never got a second.
I get it. You're just straight to discussion. There's no opportunity for a second. How Robert's rules works is if a motion.
I know.
Then a discussion. If no one wants a second, that's fine, but I'm just saying.
If no one wants the second, and I can move on for a discussion. I know it.
I second Mr. Plover's motion.
Thank you.
Okay.
What was the motion, please?
Oh, let's vote, then you do the discussion after the motion in the second. I'm fine with you having another motion. I'm not fine with us skipping Robert's rules.
I'm not-
Second, now discussion.
Did
That's
not
fine.
hear a second on that before discussion started.
Yeah.
So,
No opportunity here.
whatever. No, I have a lady right here. You've been waiting, right?
I didn't hear a second, no.
Did you have a question then? No?
I think, my question is why would you make a second to vote on something?
Yes.
Because the
And vote-
discussion comes after.
and vote on something that you expect people to vote on, but are not allowed to discuss what they're voting on. That seems a little backwards to me.
And-
And I
That's
think.
not true. That's not true.
Okay,
If you.
Robert's rules works, there's a motion, a second, then the discussion happens, not the discussion.
can I take over the meeting again for a second?
Please.
Hello? Hello? Thank you. He's absolutely right.
Yeah.
I've run a lot of meetings. Okay, you have a motion and then a second. I did not hear a second before discussion started. So I would have been glad if I would have heard a second, sir, to actually say that, because then we would have continued the discussion the way it was. So, but we have another motion with a second on the floor that, and could you please repeat your motion?
It was to give the township a year from today, or whatever, when next Tuesday is next year, to do their due diligence, to come back to us and bring this information to us. It gives them a year to do their homework.
And present it to us.
And present it.
And a full budget.
And who's gonna be using the space? And here, then are the employees gonna just have to sit in poor conditions? Because these are our neighbors, these are our friends, that we're saying no, that they can't work in good condition.
There's
So
not-
in the next year, these people have no sit, no chair, no desk, that's backwards.
I don't know how much, I don't know, I've come in here several times and there's not a whole lot of people in here. So I'm not sure what's going on and where people are sitting and stuff like that. So I think that's part of the planning aspect, is to let us know what actually you have versus what you need. If that makes sense. My motion was a little bit, I was gonna try to get meat and potatoes with all your agenda items. Sir, go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry, Lou, go ahead.
So is this the discussion that this motion that was made? Or which motion?
We have a motion over here.
But this motion, it's not on the agenda, so you can do it as an advisory vote, but it's not binding because it's not on the agenda. You can only vote up or down on this. So you can vote against this and say, we're not giving you the power, but you can't say anything more than that.
Okay,
I
follow up.
this is, well, part of the first question. So now, in the discussion that we're talking about, that is possible. But it's a discussion for a motion that isn't going to go on. But it can be said, at least in the presence of the people here in this room, that what we've heard tonight, and we're interested in this, is not been, unfortunately, a complete story that makes sense to me just listening. When I hear we're talking about mental health, then we're talking about, and we are gonna use this $3,000 a month for a couple extra people that don't have desks. Now, I feel in many difficult situations on a table, just like that Costco table over there, for a while. And in worse conditions when it's cold. So I think that the township will be able to resolve their internal challenges right now for that. So I don't think we're hurting anybody that way. I do think there is a confidence level here now with this township that this is what people are being introduced to this township. I've lived here over 40 years and I want to see what's going on, you know, and now I'm seeing it and it's a little difficult.
So point of order here, just real quick, point of order. If, when this comes up for a vote, we have a motion and a second, if defeated, what are the procedures and what happens here? Because they've already budgeted for the money for this. Was that a budget that was passed last year with a line item that?
For rent? Yeah.
So this budget was already passed,
But not expended.
but not expended. So if this body votes this down, what happens?
They can accrue interest on their money.
I
think election with property tax.
I mean, if this group says don't rent anything, then they can't rent.
This delegates to the board the ability to lease property and purchase property and sell property.
So if it gets defeated, then they can't do that.
Then
that money stays as cash.
There are other provisions of the code that could potentially apply, but for now, yes.
So there's workarounds.
Let's take a vote.
I know this gentleman back here has been patient. Go ahead.
One quick question. I want to make sure I understand what you were talking about earlier. I served on the school board here in Oswego. I'm a teacher in Bolingbrook. I've actually gotten called in the middle of the night with some of our young people who are about to harm themselves. I'm gonna tell you, yeah, it started at the home, but some of those homes, nobody's home. And so my question to you is this: if you don't pass this, does this negate some of that grant, which is probably headed over to Valley View? Which, don't get me wrong, my kids need it over there too, but I think our kids need it as well. And it's all of our tax money. So my question to you is, this gets voted down? Are we simply sending our tax money that's going to the county over to Bolingbrook or Romeoville? That's my question to you.
Just because we don't have two desks?
No, they can't use the money for building.
No, I'm talking about the grant funds.
They can't use the grant money for buildings.
Yeah, so I know that. What I'm saying is.
So if this doesn't go down, they can still use the grant money.
That they're working on.
They could still use the grant money, whether for the building or not.
So in the third whereas, you mentioned you're asking for the power to purchase, sell, or lease properties. But the supervisor only talked about leasing, you only have budgeting. Why are we giving power to purchase or sell when the only thing we talked about here is?
Great question.
The resolution.
Flexibility to work with whatever.
Which section did you mention?
It's the third whereas.
So the third whereas just says what the code allows for, but further down, it actually says what the request formally is. So under section 2, it says specifically delegate, no.
No, it says purchase, sell.
Did you want to amend that?
So,
Well,
again,
how about
question is,
Go ahead.
you've only talked about leases. And yet these statements talk about purchase and selling as well. Why are we giving you that authority when you only can talk about leasing?
Right. Bear with me one moment.
Is the new business just this line item or no value and just says lease?
As long as this resolution, so this resolution goes with the line item.
So there's internal conflict in here.
Yes.
So the fourth whereas is where it says specifically to result. But here's what I'll say. Obviously, I think it's clear that people want additional information on this resolution. And I think there are multiple people in here who want to make a vote to shoot it down at this time until they're available to get more information. I'd say let's go ahead and if you're comfortable with it and pushing it forward to a vote, and then as additional information comes in the future, if there are opportunities and you guys are able to get additional details, then we can bring it up again at that point, if appropriate.
Okay, I got one more question over here, and then I'm gonna close it. Motion, second.
Discussion.
Okay, okay,
So it sounds good. Sounds very good. Let's vote on it. And let's get that off our chest right now. So for those of you that don't want this to pass and it passes, and we've just heard a statement from the chairman that there's a conflict here. What does our attorney, the options give us?
can we do a cleanup clause?
So you have, this is on the agenda, so you can pass it as is, or you can pass it with amendments. So you would just amend it to, I mean, you could amend it. There could be a friendly motion from the floor to amend the resolution to just say lease property and not say anything else. And then you would pass the motion with the friendly amendment, assuming it's friendly.
Yeah, so you got a friendly, I got a motion in the back. Could I have your name, please?
Yeah, Jared Blover.
Jerry Bloger has a motion to friendly amendment to edit the section 2 delegation of authority to authority to purchase and lease properly, not purchase, but to scratch purchase and sell and to strictly lease both real and personal. Oh, I would like to take out personal. Jerry, would you allow me to take out personal?
Yes.
Okay. So we're talking about real estate only.
We already had a motion.
This is right, that's correct.
We already had a motion in second and to vote on it.
Okay, and you have the ability to accept a friendly motion to edit the, that which is, yes, because what we did is we cleaned it up and we have a new motion. You can still defeat this if that's what the people want. They want more information.
I think,
but in case this thing goes through, I think there's some of us that wanted to make sure that what we were talking about is what we're passing.
yeah, so this gentleman wants to make sure that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but essentially, before we go to a vote, he wants to make sure that if it's not shut down, correct? And it's approved, that the ability to purchase is not included in the approval, and that's what this friendly motion is.
Or sell anything.
However,
Yes.
as I said earlier, the discussion was about health, mental health. And then for some employees, I mean, it was kind of like back and forth. It was not what I think the motion is.
Correct.
What was discussed to us.
Right.
You made comment, I was listening to you, following you, and you were talking about the salaries, and there was a question about salaries and what are we doing it?
Yeah.
And that's in the thing, we're gonna talk about it in another meeting later on tonight. And then you talked about, and we need some space for some employees. So I don't know that, does this motion actually represent what you presented to us?
Yes.
Is what I'm saying.
I agree.
So it does, because you're not voting to approve the actual lease. What you are voting to do is to delegate the authority to the board at the following meeting to do that.
But
Right?
don't know.
So you could, at this meeting, there could have been a motion put forward to say that you approved of the lease of that particular property at that amount for this long. That could have been what they asked you to do, but they didn't. What they asked you to do was vote on a motion that delegated the authority that you have to them, so that in the meeting following this, they could do that. So
Isn't that?
Sounds even worse.
no, it's fairly standard. In fact, in a lot of townships around the state, this is a standard motion that gets passed every year at the township meeting, and that is all delegated to the township board. And I see your mouth drop, but
Yeah.
that is, the reality is that there are a lot of townships around the state that pass this resolution as a matter of course and give
And or
that
defeat
authority
it.
to the board.
And or defeat it.
And or defeat it, yeah.
And or, this is not just a pass, it's and or defeat it
So.
based on what's going on.
You just reinforced. If this is done in the state of Illinois with all these townships, why there shouldn't be any townships? Because of the fact, it's okay, we'll just tell you basically what we want, and then you give us an authority for this basic thing, and then we'll
Whatever.
put it in there and put whatever we think we need,
Okay,
which might not meet the people's needs.
last comment, then I'm gonna call the question.
So they're allowed to vote on this resolution, even though it's not stated on the agenda.
It is on the agenda.
No,
No, there's no motion attached to that, there's just a vote. So this is new that nobody knew about, it wasn't posted with the agenda, it doesn't say according to the resolution,
It
so.
says delegate the authority to the township board to lease property for a period of 12 months.
Right, but not.
Where's the
according-
resolution?
Yeah.
So you can vote on that resolution. You can vote on a
Well,
resolution
now,
to
kind
delegate
of a
that.
point of
authority.
order, I was on the county board for a couple of years. And anytime that we had a meeting and you were going to put something on an agenda, you always referred that agenda item to the resolution that defines all the activities that are going on.
That
And
is correct.
he's
That is best practices.
Okay, and so that's, I think, what she's referring to.
Right, and there's a difference between best practices and what
And
the
what
attorney
happened.
general's, no, what the attorney general rules on what the agenda item needs to say in order to be valid.
Okay. Calling the question. All those in favor of signify by saying aye that would like this motion to pass as amended.
What?
You really don't want me to read the whole thing, but what I will say, hold on a second. What I will say is the electors of Wheatland Township thereby delegate the Township Board of Wheatland and all authority to lease property real for a period of 12 months from the date thereof in all manners they have deemed necessary and proper and as otherwise provided by law. That is the motion on the floor.
Another amendment? Can't put another amendment. We limit how much they can spend.
Yeah, maximum 36,000.
Yeah, there's no amount.
We can't.
He's already got into a budget. He can't really go over his budget. Not supposed to.
Okay.
They move it around.
Yeah. Guys, if you don't want this, you can defeat it.
Okay.
So all those in favor of this going forward, raise your hand.
Aye.
Okay.
All those against, raise your hand. Motion was defeated. Okay, moving on. Approval of an advisory question. I think there's some, is this what this is? Okay. The advisory question, shall individuals and businesses in Wheatland Township be allowed to boycott and divest from the state of Israel?
You have a motion, right? And then discussion.
I'm just reading what this is. Approval of advisory question. Do I have a motion to put this on the board, on the floor?
I make a motion to put it on the floor.
I second.
Okay,
Got a motion and a second. Discussion.
can we get, like, what this actually really means from Mr. Mullins? I mean, because I'm not really sure what this means, and are we even, is this something that the electors can even vote on? Because I didn't see that as something that we have the powers to even vote on.
Right. And this is to put, and the goal is, I just want to clarify for my own sake, this is to put this on the November 3rd election as an advisory question for all of Wheatland Township. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
First
so
question there, but he's gonna tell us what's going on.
you want to go first?
Go for it.
Okay, so. So there was no objection prior to the township board voting on what would be on the agenda here to put it on the agenda. So it is on the agenda. And there is no procedure to take it off the agenda. The only procedure is either to vote to table it or to vote on the
Vote it up or down.
vote up or down, right? So there may have been a decision that this is not appropriate. But the township board voted on it, it's on the agenda, and there's no way to do it other than to vote it up or down or to table, okay? What I will tell you is that this is not the only stage in the process where there are going to be issues about whether this is an appropriate advisory referendum. So once you all vote up or down, if you vote for it, then the township board has to certify it to the clerk. And so the township board has to vote to certify it. And if they believe it is not a legally valid referendum, they don't have to do that. The clerk also will be given the referendum, and the clerk has the ability to look at the referendum and say, it doesn't meet what we call apparent conformity, so it would be taken off. And then there's the ability of a registered voter in the township to object to the language of the referendum once it's filed. So this is the first in 4 potential roadblocks for the referendum to actually get on the ballot. So the township code says that the electors can vote to put an advisory referendum on the November ballot. So it gives you the ability to vote today to do that, right? An advisory referendum is not something that is well defined in the election code. It's also called a question of public policy as well as an advisory referendum. I litigated a case before the Chicago Board of Elections just 2 months ago. And I will tell you, there is not a single appellate court case in the state on what is a valid advisory referendum. There are circuit court cases, there are electoral board decisions, but as a lawyer, we look to the appellate court to say what is the law, and there is not a lot of law on this. But there are a few points. One is there's no constitutional right to an advisory referendum. So there's a lot of constitutional rights around ballot access for candidates, for certain referendums that are in the Constitution. There is not one for an advisory referendum. There's a provision of the Illinois Constitution called the free and equal election provision, which has been used by electoral boards and circuit courts to say that advisory referendum are not appropriate because the language is not something that is really a question of public policy. It's confusing, it's compound, et cetera. And I think that there are some concerns that I have with the language of this because there is no township role in divestment. I think I understand what the people who drafted this were trying to do, but I don't think the language does that. And it's if an advisory referendum is a question of public policy, typically it's, should the township board do this? Should the state do this? Should the municipality do this? And this is just, should this be allowed? And I think that's one of the problems. I think another one of the problems is that there is no, the township doesn't prohibit it. The state doesn't prohibit it. There are prohibitions that the state has for investing in businesses that do it, but it's not directly the language. So I think there are some issues with the way that the referendum has been drafted. And so a township clerk or an electoral board looking at it might have concerns with how it was drafted. But for purposes of this, I mean, this is not an electoral board determination. So the determination, I think, for this group is, do you agree that this is a question that should be asked of the people of Wheatland Township? And if you agree that it's a question that should be asked, then it will go through the other legal steps to make sure that it is a legally valid.
A legal clarification, allowed to boycott and divest. They don't say who, what, are we talking small businesses? Are we talking, they're asking for a blank check to go out and cause chaos and mayhem in order to be able to do, going against it.
I mean,
I'm just asking.
I mean, chaos and mayhem, I think, is going a little far for you as the moderator to say. Okay, so, but.
All right, I apologize. We got 1, 2, and 3. There you go.
So I'm gonna make it super simple. It's illegal and gonna very much echo. Thank you for even saying. So did a little digging, research, made a couple calls, as you know, but I did. I want to just the proposed referendum regarding boycotting diversity from Israel. First, the question is outside legal authority of the township. Township Illinois do not have the power to regulate foreign policy, international boycotts, or private investment decisions. Those matters are handled at the federal level, not here.
We just said it was an advisory referendum and it was.
There's no. Second, the question is misleading to the voters. It's just that the township or its voters can somewhat control whether individuals or businesses choose to boycott foreign behavior. That is simply not true. People and businesses already have the freedom to make those decisions on their own. A vote on this would have no real effect whatsoever. It's not adjusted. Third, Illinois law requires that ballot questions be clear, truthful, and within the scope of local authority. This question fails all three. It risks confusion, voters into thinking their vote would actually change something when we all know it wouldn't. Finally, there are serious legal concerns. Illinois law already restricts certain types of boycotts related to Israel, especially when it comes to government contracts and public investments. Placing this question on the ballot could create conflict with existing state law. So at the end of the day, it's just not a bad idea. It's legally questionable, misleading use of the ballot process. For these reasons, I'm respectfully asking that this item be removed and that future agendas reflect only matters within the township proper authority.
Okay, and guys, we want to remember that you got to keep this to the 3-minute rule.
That was 1 minute 45 seconds. I was.
Not arguing with you. What I'm saying is we need to do that. And please, while we're talking, and I apologize, we need to make sure that we're saying our names because we're taping this and someone. Thank you, Suzanne.
Like Walter Berkowitz, I really just trying to understand what's being asked here. So it says, shall individuals and businesses in Wheatland Township. So that means you have to be a resident or a business located within Wheatland Township. That's what the first part of this is, correct? And then it says, be allowed to boycott. And I'm thinking, anywhere? Is that like, should I go to DuPage Township and boycott? Am I authorizing people to go into DuPage County and boycott? What part of Wheatland Township, what role does Wheatland Township play in this request for a advisory? What what is Wheatland, what's special about Wheatland Township that this is?
I think they're trying to go to a lot of different townships
Yeah.
and government bodies like Aurora.
Get that, but I'm just saying, if.
There is no rule.
Prove it, unless we're the only ones.
Yeah,
Approved it. Am I then saying you are okay to go into DuPage County and boycott? I don't know.
1, 2, 3. Four. Okay, hold on 1 second. I've got my numbers up to 4 right now. I don't know if I can go too much farther ahead. Do you have and I have just a little caveat to that. Aren't they already allowed to boycott and do whatever they by our constitution?
So there are a couple statutes in the state of Illinois that punish companies that invest in, that boycott or divest from companies in Israel. And so I think Suzanne mentioned them both in her comments, state investment and government contracts. So the state says you can't take advantage of those things if you are boycotting and divesting from Israel. And there is a bill to remove those from state statute. And I don't know who is promoting this, but it seems to me that the intent is to support the notion of that bill, that people should be allowed to do it without consequence in the state of Illinois. And correct me if I'm wrong, if that's not the purpose of it.
I think that's the problem. We don't know.
Right. So
your second.
So this is not I don't think this is intended to have a practical effect that you're giving it. I think this is intended to send a message to the state legislature as to people's opinion on the issue.
And we don't even know how to say that.
Other townships have already voted. They just finished on getting the alert. They have voted yes, because it will go on the ballot in November and it is coming up in the state senate. So we do need a yes vote. And that's even, I think, for the explanation, but we missed the whole point about kids who are being arrested, people who are being fired because they are saying we don't want billions to go overseas. We want our kids to have the money here. We don't want people to have in Israel free healthcare, free tuition, free housing, while our children are paying. So if we say that, guess what? We're getting arrested. We're getting deported. So we need to be able to say, this is about freedom of speech. We can't say we want freedom of speech for one item, but then we can't have freedom of speech for something else. It starts very low. We're seeing it in the media. The township does have a voice in this because it comes up into the next level of voting and then it comes up and up. So yes, all the other townships right now just finished voting. You can check online and they have voted yes because they know the core belief is freedom of speech. Thank you.
Second. Hold on.
Thank you. So my name is Omar Ahmad, for the record. I submitted the petition, I circulated the petition, and as our attorney mentioned, that's very much correct. The question before us tonight is a freedom of speech question. The question, put it on the ballot to get a sense of what the voters believe. As the gentle lady over here mentioned, why Israel? The state of Illinois allows you to boycott any country on earth, including the United States of America, without penalty, except for the nation of Israel. So there is, as you mentioned, a movement at the state level to remove this exception. Why is Israel being singled out? They shouldn't be singled out. They should be treated like any other country, including the United States of America. So the question before us tonight is not where you stand on the issue. You will be able to register that in November when this question is placed on the ballot. The question tonight is whether this question should be presented to the voter or not. The Constitution is the law of the land. The First Amendment to the Constitution gives citizens the right to petition their government. That's a fundamental principle that this country is built on, that generations of Americans before us came for and died to protect and to defend. So the question is, can we just place this question on the ballot? That is all that is being asked tonight. Thank you.
Right there.
My name is Robert Wolfhouse, and I've been a lawyer for over 38 years. I don't need to worry about that. I don't think it's easy. I don't think it's need for legal analysis at all. We just have witnessed over the past hour and a half, 2 hours, sorry about this board, but a board that has no idea what they're doing apparently. You don't know how we're gonna rent or lease stuff, you don't know how the budget works, you don't know about mental health facilities or additional things that are adding to it. So I don't know why in the world you wanna get involved in anything like this. It's a terrible idea. If you don't like Israel, don't like Israel, that's fine. You love free speech, you all like free speech, I did say it now.
Hold on, guys.
You don't like Israel? Don't like Israel, that's fine. You don't have to like Israel. I don't like when they require me to put stickers on my yard bag. I don't want them telling me how I can invest my money. I think it's a terrible idea. If you want to pursue this at a state level, go for it. Pursue it at a state level. Try to get the state of Illinois to say they hate Israel. That's fine. No problem. But this is not the place for it. And this certainly is not the body to be doing this.
I got, you're 4, I have 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, she would.
You did have your hand up. Here, so, no, the one behind you. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, go ahead.
Hey everybody, my name is Steve Van Apology. I totally agree with you, sir, and it's because, I mean, we're not forcing anyone to support or not support Israel. Anybody that's in this room has the free will, and we're all adults. We can decide that for ourselves. What's being discussed right now is whether or not this discussion, this question should be had at the ballot. And whether people should vote on it or not. So that's what we're voting on here. And then also, yeah, no, for sure. And then also, again, because it's a foundational principle of this country, and I totally believe in it, that neither businesses nor people nor anybody shouldn't be forced to say what they don't believe. And because of this, we should actually pass something like this so that people, if they are against the state of Israel, they can express that freely without any repercussion. And if they're not,
Anti-Semitism isn't on the rise. It is. They call the question.
Hold on a second. I've already given people a number. You're first right now, dear. Go. Yeah.
I'm sorry, can we get your name?
And
Last name, Tony? Khatib?
basically want to first start off that I'm from a military family of Marines and a mom who was in the Navy. And I have right now nephews, 2 of them that are in the military right now. Okay, we fight for our constitutional freedom, and boycotting is a U.S. constitutional freedom of speech. It is allowed. So what I'm trying to say, this is not about against Israel or anything. I would say if we wanted to boycott, for example, North Korea or Russia, we should have that right, but we should not have the right to say that we cannot boycott policies. This is not a religious thing at all. This is secular, and it's about humanity. Our government is secular, and also human rights and what we do with the United Nations is secular. This boycott movement is to say we would like to boycott. We do not agree with some of these things that are happening policy-wise in Israel, and they should follow UN international law, which is secular. So I feel like, yes, we should be able, as a human, to use our US constitutional rights. We should be able to put this forward to the people here in Wheatland to vote on it. It's not a religious thing.
Okay.
It is based on our human rights, US citizens, and the Constitution.
Time.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Now that I understand what this is about. But the way this is written is just confusing and doesn't make any sense and doesn't bring clear the issue that you're actually trying to address. So I would say no, just because of that.
Yeah, and that.
Okay. 2,
I was number 3.
Yeah.
3, then 4.
I say, let's amend it. I'd like to add Nigeria because they murder Christians. You know, why just sing about Israel?
It's not.
Why not?
Which is part of the problem. It's confusing. Yes.
It's how it's written. The reason why, Lou Halkias, again.
Thank you.
The reason why we're in this situation is, this was said, the board approved this to be put on the agenda.
it approved it because
By law.
they had
they had signatures that were to
It's
put it.
not only technical, you said, it's not only technical that they had enough signatures. I could have a lot of signatures of something that you would say, we would never allow something like that to be put on the agenda. And you gave us like 4 reasons why it shouldn't have been put on the agenda, because it didn't.
Not why it shouldn't have been put on the agenda, why someone might decide that it's not
Because
legally
it's
valid.
Causing this kind of conflict because of the fact the board did not follow.
Well, and as lady in the back said, this is being voted on by multiple townships tonight in multiple places.
Because it happens in someplace else, it don't make it right.
Different place here.
This state has a reputation of not doing things right. So the point is, again,
Bravo.
that this board approved this to be on here, and now they're saying, oh, well, we had to because technically they had enough names. No,
That's exactly what the statute said, yeah.
the statute says only that, not with the other things you told us,
No,
that it
that-
didn't meet the criteria and that it would be knocked off by this board. You didn't say that.
No, I did not say that. I said there were
Okay,
issues.
so
with it.
there is a recording of this.
No, I did not say it would be kicked off the ballot. I said there were issues with it where that would be raised before the board, that would be raised before the county clerk, and that could be raised in an objection. I did not give an opinion that this is valid or invalid.
Very good. So this board, I'd like a hand of the people on the board that said this should be on the agenda.
And I'm Jewish.
Thank you.
Hold it.
Can I?
What did you say the county
So is
clerk
it a
has to
majority
approve it
or
too?
just a minority?
This gets certified to the county clerk, and the county clerk has,
The ability not to put it on?
it has to pass a parent conformity review.
Hold on a second.
It's not about religion.
County clerk has, what is their role? County clerk as a parent?
Parent conformity, that's what it's called. They can determine whether or not the referendum is in apparent conformity with the.
Okay, I'm gonna call the question.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a late,
We're here and we want to discuss this, so we know what's going on before we vote. So I would like to hear what every person's hand is raised. As a question, I don't care how long it takes, but I want to hear what these people have to say. There,
all right, I'll continue.
he had his.
Well, okay, let me see a show of hands right now. I have 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's it. Those 3 right there. Anybody else? 4 back there.
Keep it to like
Okay, we got
a
3
minute and a
minutes.
half or something.
Okay, go ahead.
I motion that we end discussion and we take an up and down vote, because we all have our opinion. Just take the up and down vote because that's an agenda item. Let's move on.
I'll second.
I'll second.
Well, he'll get it.
Yeah, let him talk, but I mean, that's kind of why my hand was up.
Okay. We had a motion and a second. All those in favor by ending discussion signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Opposed, same sign. Now, opposed to, and what I mean by opposed is we will continue discussion. Okay, I need a show of hands. All those that would like to end discussion, raise your hand. All those that would like to continue discussion, raise your hand. The end discussion has it. Sorry, guys. We're gonna call the question. The question is whether the board should put this on and recommend this for the upcoming election on November 3rd.
Repeat the whole thing.
Shall what you're voting on is and I'm not even sure if I read it, I understand exactly what the impact of this is. Because if this is impacting stuff that's going on in the state, I don't know that this is giving
Again.
no. Yep. Shall individuals and businesses in Wheatland Township be allowed to boycott, diverse from the state of Israel?
Divest. Divest.
And be placed, divest, and to be placed on the November 3rd ballot. I did say that. No, that is,
Part of the.
you know,
Let's see.
yes, it's part of the petition up at the top. It's in the petition, it's not in the, not on the agenda, it's on the petition. Okay. To have this on the ballot November 3rd, signify by raising your hand. If you would not like to have this on the ballot, please raise your hand. The motion was defeated. I would have counted if there was not an overwhelming number of hands. Okay? So the approval of the advisory question was defeated. We need to set time for the April 13th, 2027 annual meeting. Do we have, you guys want to do same time, same place, same station?
Yeah.
Okay,
6 o'clock.
no,
Yeah, that'd be great.
I think it's by law, it has to be seven.
Seven.
Or
It has to be
yeah,
after, it has to be 6 or later.
6 or later?
Yeah.
Can I see a show of hands who would like to see it, before 7, like it's 6:30?
Sure.
All right, so the annual meeting next year, can we split the baby and say 6:30?
Sure.
That work?
Yeah.
Okay, annual meeting next year, 2027 is 6:30. Okay, we'll have it at the same place. We'll have all that information. I would just ask that next year that all the agenda items that we were discussing, especially new business, have some kind of packet that's.
Yeah.
And then we kind of passed it, something similar to that to the budget, but if that could go across the whole, you guys would go a long way in helping us get through this. Okay, public comment? Hearing none, motion to adjourn?
Move.
Motion, second, thank you
Who's
all.
the motion by and who was the second by?
Motion, Tony? To adjourn.
You want public comment? Say hearing none. You have to get.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to.
They did raise their hand. We have a motion to adjourn in effect.
Hold on, I thought Tony was the one that motioned
No,
to adjourn.
we have a motion. This is Robert Burrow. We have a motion on the floor.
Tony, go ahead. What do you got to say?
You can't ignore.
Excuse me.
You guys, that's a different thing. What I'd like to say is that, thank you, it's my first time post-stroke. I would like it if maybe they can rewrite and increase it again. But again, just like we have the right to boycott even South Africa, we as Americans should have the freedom. So maybe they should write it again differently, and I really appreciate being able to come here for the first time.
Thank you very much. What was the other public comment?
I don't think a moderator could give his opinion.
I'm gonna look, I am citizen, so that's the way it is. Maybe. Yeah, okay, thank you for your. All those in favor signify by saying aye. There we go. Thank you.